Hello, everyone.
Hi
Welcome, welcome.
everyone.
There.
Yes, to another pop-up Q&A on Thursday. But of course, this time we changed the timing to 4:30 lah. Uh, we
Yes.
asked we asked the previous crowd last time. Do you prefer 12:30 or 4:30? But I think there was a big bias there lah. People who attended the 12:30 session, of course, would likely say that 12:30
Say
is more
12:30.
preferable, right?
Yeah.
So we try to adjust a bit to see whether we can help other people who cannot watch at 12:30 lah, right? So how's everybody doing? I hope you all are doing good. As usual, wherever let us know whether you can hear us properly or not. Are we lagging? Am I too soft? Let us know from wherever you're watching, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Maybe just type a one in the comment section, so we can see everything's fine, lah. Right. So before we kind of take your questions, lah. Right. That's what this whole session is about. We will be taking questions from wherever you're watching. So if you have a career question, right, drop it down in the comments. We'll pick it up. It's a good career question. Feel free to give your opinions as well. If you have experience that you can help with other people. Thank you so much, everyone, for letting us know that you can hear us properly, right? Now, before you guys ask us a question, I want to ask you guys a question as well. Do you think age should be a factor in getting a job? We've been getting this question quite a lot recently, and obviously we have our thoughts on it. Maybe we'll share it in just a bit. But I want to hear from all the viewers watching as well. Do you think age should be a factor in getting a job? It could be yes, it could be no, but whatever it is, if you can, well, tell us why you think so. That'll be great as well, lah. Right now, while you think about that, I want to let all the people here know, all the early birds know here that we are also, we like to introduce you to something. You probably heard us telling you about this before. Quite if you follow us quite formula, you will definitely hear this already, lah, right? But it's about Hiredly X. So you know, you've always known us for being like a job portal where you come to Hiredly.com to find a job that you love, you apply to that job, right? But did you know now if you go to x.hiredly.com, you can actually drop your CV and let us find you a job. So when you drop us your CV, right, our headhunters will contact you when we find a suitable job for you. So obviously don't expect like immediate results, but doing this will give you an opportunity for another way for you to find job, like instead of you actively searching for it, just drop your CV and our headhunters may contact you when we find a suitable job for you. So if you're curious, head on over to x.highly.com. It's really as simple as it sounds, right? So yes, let me see what are the thoughts here. Oh, no thoughts yet. What about you guys first, Liz and Kenny? What are your thoughts on this question?
Maybe I'll go first. Um, I think age shouldn't be a factor, but it is a very realistic factor. So to explain a bit more what I think, it's more of like, I think even if you're 30, you should be able to apply to an internship regardless. If you're 50, you should still be able to apply to an entry level job or just to find jobs. But I think age is really quite a factor in the sense, like, realistically, if you are 30, you know, um, even at that age, you can still apply to an internship job, fresh graduate job. But at 30 years old, you wouldn't really want to earn that level of salary, unfortunately. So there is a perception that if you are 30 years old, that if you want to apply to a fresh graduate job, you may want a higher salary than people want to give to a fresh graduate. So I think uh, if you're the person applying, you need to be very well. You need to be very realistic and be open to lowering your standards. And as an employer, you also need to open up and give the person the opportunity. Perhaps this person has already thought about it, and is willing to lower down. So I think this will open up more avenues. But I do understand, to a certain extent, if you're hiring for a junior, you would typically look for a junior who you may want to train and stay longer in your company. So it definitely is, to a certain extent, a factor, but it shouldn't be something that will stop somebody completely. But yeah, that's what I think. But I do want to take this opportunity to say hello to Liz. She's joining us today for the first time.
Hi,
So
first
Liz,
time.
what do you think?
Okay. I'm of the opinion that realistically, I wish age wouldn't be a factor in getting a job. However, there are like certain perks, especially after speaking to a lot of employers. When they say they're looking for someone who's young, they're usually looking for people who are like bright-eyed and motivated and enthusiastic, right? But there are certain perks that come with being a little bit older, especially you have that experience and maturity and wisdom. So I think at the end of the day, the important thing would be to try your best to convince the employer when you're applying a job, to show them like what value you can put in lah. Because there are like certain perks in coming from a younger age group and then coming from someone who's a lot more mature. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, but I also agree from someone, Israel here. I hope I'm not butchering your name. I'm so sorry. I'm known to be doing that. It would depend on what kind of job, lah, right? Personally, if it does not really relate to actual performance for the job, I'm not for age restriction for the fact that it's how do I put it? Like if it's just like a preference over here, So with this, right, I think very much it's like how do I put it? Sometimes your age does kind of correlate with the number of years of experience you have as well. Generally, if for example, if someone if they want to hire someone who has like 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience for a very senior role, for example, obviously if you're a fresh graduate, you don't really pin that to, oh, because I'm young, but it's because of the lack of number of years of experience. But on the other spectrum as well, some people are applying to jobs that are way well qualified for, but there are also some employers who unfortunately think that they are, not of the desired age that they want to apply for whatever reason. And in that case, I think it's not fair, But Israel really brought up a very good what do you call it?
Point.
Comment over there. Yeah, that it's if it's something like his example that if it requires a lot of physical manual labor, and right, then obviously it may be an indication of that. But sometimes also it's like you don't think of it that way. Some people who are of more senior age than me has is so much more fit than I am if it
Of
comes to
any
manual
sense,
labor,
right?
Yeah, so it's inevitable. Like I said, some jobs, really does have a strict age requirement, but I think rarely lah. But even if there is, right, I think it's really used as more of an indicator of like your years of experience. And I think anything beyond that, perhaps there are some reasons why I cannot think of, why other people prefer
Yeah, I
certain
believe
age lah.
I believe that most employers do not really have an age limit, unless you're talking about a graduate program, and then I do understand. Um, like age is definitely a factor for graduate programs because it's for fresh graduates. Uh, but I think maybe for some employers, for example, I think digital marketing is a very hot topic and a hot job market that everyone wants to go in. And there is definitely some preference for younger candidates because I think there is a perception that if you're somebody who's a bit older and established, you may not be so familiar with the platform. You are not really the target market. So if you get somebody who is your target market to come in, you sort of get the perspective of who you're targeting to, and it may be more effective. So I think that could be a consideration, like whether or not this job requires certain perspective or ability to understand the technology that may not be as easily taken up by somebody who's a bit more experienced. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, but that's also not absolute, like like if you
correct. It's really
like
up to the employer.
yeah, if you're really like a subject expert, like you're I mean, there's a lot of people who are like 30 plus, 40 plus, expert digital marketers who know exactly how to talk to people of like 20 something years of age. They know what are the trends and stuff like that. So yes, being in the same age category kind of like gives you the benefit of knowing how people around age things like that. But if you put in the effort to actually study it, like who's to say that you're someone of 20 years old, you cannot do digital marketing to target people, for products who are 30 years old, 40 years old. Is that
Yeah.
how we make decisions? I don't think so, lah. Right. So can you put a good point as well? All right. I think if there's nothing to add, right? Sharon, I just want to point out to you, for anybody who just joined us, yes, this session is for you to ask us career advice questions, lah. So if you have a good question, drop it down and we might pick it up to answer it just as we did as well, right? So, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, everyone here at the comments. So, right. Now, moving on to the next question first, while we wait for questions from you, these are some of the questions that we were asked last time, very related as well to what you just answered. Is it too late to start an internship at 30? I think we already kind of give some answers here already, like, I think, personally, I think not. But you have to understand also it's a restart. Lah. You have to define by yourself what is too late. In a way, internship is not going to, what do you call it, uh, give you the same amount of salary or allowance as your current full-time job. If you have been in that position, at the age of 30, I'm sure you're quite well established already, right, in that role. But if you're willing to take the leap, sometimes you want to transition to another career, and then you need to really rake up like some credibility first, some experience first, right? I understand it's a bit difficult, sometimes to prove to employers that, hey, why you should take me when I just did a 180 change to this other career. So internships are usually like kind of like low, what do you call it, like low risk
Low barrier,
opportunity.
low entry
Yeah,
barrier.
low
It gets
entry
your foot
barrier.
in the door lah.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. So, I don't think so. It's too late to start internship at 30 lah. Any other differing thoughts, guys?
I think it's definitely not too late, but if you were to start that internship, it's definitely because, not because of the pay, but definitely the value of gaining that experience is more valuable to you lah. So I think it might be a good step, especially if you're transitioning to a new role, a new job that you've never done before. You don't really have the experience to prove your credibility, like Brian said just now lah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a little different. It kind of reminds me of that movie, The Internship, with Anne
Yes, I was
Hathaway.
about to say.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I agree with Liz. Like sort of what we mentioned, if you are able to I think Jocelyn brought up a good point here. So Jocelyn mentioned if you don't have any burdens, you don't have any financial commitments, and you are genuine in that you want to switch your careers, definitely go for internships. I don't think employers would have any limits on that. But what you can do to maybe just establish things properly is to just in your CV clearly put out that hey, I'm this experience, but I'm currently
Yes.
looking to switch and I'm looking for internships to start off.
Yes,
And then the employer would know you're relevant.
Yeah, you really have to make it clear, by the way, realistically, especially if you're someone, of 30 years old already. And if you don't make it clear that you are applying for an internship job, you don't make it clear in your CV, employers may think that you wrongfully applied to the job,
Yes.
Very much for everyone looking for career transitions as well. For example, if you've been doing accounting for so many years, or just been doing accounting all along, and then you want to switch to digital marketing, you don't state your intention properly. People will think that you are not. You just wrongfully applied to one. A bit sasala. People will think.
Yes.
So really, really state your intentions properly, right? So yeah. Moving on to the next question then. Megat has asked, very related all these questions today.
Yes.
Thanks for watching from YouTube, by the way, Megat. We don't get a lot there. So yeah, need some advice on switching industries. Started my career in HR and now at C&B specialist. I realize I don't enjoy doing HR and might be in other roles, perhaps sales and marketing. How do I switch?
I think it sort of relates back to what we just mentioned, Megat. One of the avenues that you can take is definitely through an internship. But I believe the skills that you have for HR are definitely transferable to marketing. So I would say literally in your CV, say make it clear what you're looking for, craft it, and make sure that you emphasize on your transferable skills from HR. For example, communication. Sales and marketing relies so heavily on communications. You can make calls. These are things that are transferable skills that you can apply to these new industries. Put it in your CV and start applying to jobs. Obviously, don't expect that if let's say you're a senior in HR, don't expect that you'll be a senior in sales and marketing straight away. Be prepared to be a fresh graduate. Obviously, you won't be treated as somebody who's completely fresh, but you have to be ready to sort of go back down to that level. Yeah, because it's really up to the
Mm.
employer if they are willing to treat you as a senior or a junior. But from objectively, if you don't have the relevant experience, you are a junior.
Yeah.
I
And
think
yeah, go ahead, Liz.
since Magat said that he wants to switch to sales and marketing, I think sales and marketing is definitely like a believable lane to switch if you were to switch. Like Kenny said just now, like there are skills from your HR experience that can be applied. And just speaking from my personal experience, I did not have any proper marketing experience or educational background, but I'm here today, so it's definitely possible lah. And I guess I just wanted to plug this article in. We actually have an article up on our LinkedIn. If you just search LinkedIn Hyatt Lee, we actually have an article where we asked 3 different people who switched professions, and we asked them how they made the switch, why they made the switch. So I think it might be relevant for you to check out the article to get some advice lah.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's very much you also have to communicate um your value. So I've mentioned a few times before, a lot of them they say that, oh, I want to switch because I'm passionate in this X role that they are moving to. I'm highly interested in this X role. I want to explore it, as an alternative to what I've been doing. I'm not really interested in that anymore. Sure. When you are interested, prove your interest. So for example, in this case, right, how do you switch? Well, obviously, other than the obvious answer, which is just to apply, right, you really got to show your employer what is your, how would you um, prove to them that you're good for sales and marketing. Let's say you're going for a sales role, right? If you're doing HR, for example, I like to think that people in HR, they have to sell the roles and the employer brand of their own company to the candidates that they want to hire for lah. So in a way, in a way, a lot of effective HR people, they have to know how to market the company to be attractive to job seekers, how to sell the role to the job seekers, to make sure that what they're looking for, you're offering something relevant that they are looking for as well, right? So you can really prove your value with this kind of like transferable skills. You really, really must know how to justify your value. And on top of that, you really have to make yourself stand out, and kind of like make sure you have the level playing field. So what I mean by that is you have to think, okay, usually a salesperson, they are very it's a very customer facing role one, right? So what do employers really look at, to decide to whether they should call me in for an interview or not? If you believe you have very good soft skill one, or very good communication skill, and you can display that in a form of a video cover letter, which is a feature we offer in Hiredly. But if you can't, so I'm being very honest here. I think usually as a very good salesperson or a very good marketing person, the first thing you have to know is you have to know how to sell yourself first. If you can't sell your own professional self, I don't think any employers will buy that you are a very good salesperson or a very good marketing person. You must know how to market yourself and sell your professional self. So don't skip out on like writing a very bad CV. Like if your CV is a very cluttered one, don't even know how to make sure people um catch an employer's attention. In mere seconds to keep their interest. I don't. If you don't know how to market yourself, it's very, very hard to prove that. It's kind of like being a creative person, but your CV is like mismatch of colors, things are not aligned. Ugly lah. It's kind of like that lah, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, many ways, Maga. I really hope it goes well for you. By the way, it's always kind of like a, what do you call it? Panicky state lah when you're trying. It's quite a nervous stage lah when you're thinking of switching to a different role. But I'm very happy that you kind of like find that a different interest now. Pinpoint where your interest lies. So I really wish you good luck, Magat. Right. Well, next one then. Quick one. Cynthia asked any CS job to recommend. I'm not sure whether you mean customer service or C-level job. But
I
if
believe it's
you
customer service lah.
yeah, if you like, you can go to highly.com or to sign up for an account and look for a amount of customer service jobs we have on our job portal, lah, right, Cynthia? So, the name is right here, hurriedly. Just add a .com behind and you'll end up in our job portal, lah, right? So, yes, next question then. Sharon has asked, for those who fall under MSS due to pandemic, are they given open opportunities? Uh, MSS is mutual separation scheme, right? I think yeah, it's a mutual separation scheme. I'm not sure what do you mean by giving open opportunities, Sharon. Perhaps you can clarify that with us. But I don't think taking MSS is going to stop you from
Yeah.
applying to any opportunities, lah. Right, but please do elaborate. I would love to know what do you mean by open opportunities. Um, right. So the next one is by Desmond. I'm at the age of 24 and currently have 2 years of experience in one industry. If I were to change the industry, will hiring manager be viewing me as a fresh graduate? Uh, if I may take this, it depends on whether you're switching a role or not. That's me. So if let's say you're in marketing, you change to another industry, you might not. I mean, you won't be viewed as a fresh graduate lah, or rather, you won't be seen as like a. You need to start from a junior role lah. But it really depends on the case because sometimes, certain roles, although like for example, you are in marketing, right? Sometimes like the role that you are in, you're really focused on B2C marketing, and you're joining to another company, in another industry that serves like business to business, and it's like a totally different form of marketing. So no doubt it's also marketing, but you may have a lot of things to relearn. But I don't think we should look at this like quite black and white. You really need to see how much skills can be adapted to the next role. But generally, um, a lot of people change into different industries, but they remain in the same role, and I mean the same profession, and it's either they maintain at the level they are in, or they move up to one step ahead of their career in that same profession. What do you guys think?
My opinion is, if let's say you're in a position like sales, marketing, accountant, HR, this kind where your skill set doesn't really relate directly to the industry, then no, like you would be treated as if same level, or you might even go up, because it's like, for example, if you're in sales, you'll just be selling a different product. If you're in HR, you're just gonna be hiring a different person. There will definitely be a learning curve, but I don't see a reason why he would be a completely different, unless like maybe you're a civil engineer doing construction previously, and now you want to be a naval engineer, and now you'll be helping building ships. Perhaps this kind of a situation, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but perhaps in this kind of situation where it's a very different speciality, very different knowledge, in that case, maybe you might be seen as a fresh graduate. But yeah, if you're maintaining the same role, typically switching industries doesn't affect much.
Yeah. Oh, I love this comment, William. Don't think, just change your role. I changed my role from various warehouse packer to admin to sales to e-commerce specialist to in charge of MSC rent and to set up my own business. Yes, actually a lot of times it's like, I think the limiting factor is the person itself. If you really can afford to do so, and willing to sacrifice, really, changing roles is, no doubt I won't say it's not easy, but if it's really you're passionate in, I think it's easier to swallow than if you're doing something that you completely don't like at all. Like just change. You see, William is a good testament here. So many different various different roles already. So if, like I said, like if you how do I put it? If you're happy, if you're curious, and you don't change your role, and you have carefully thought about it, but you don't want to take the risk. Sometimes it may be nagging at the back of your head a little bit, and then you will like, oh, I regret. It depends on you as an individual. If you don't change, then later you say, yeah, I regret. I should have changed role. If you change, then you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have changed to this role. But it could be like, you change and then you really like it. You never know. And I don't think it's that risky. Again, unless you are really really like, have a lot of, like, how would I put it? like I said, if you can afford it, you don't have a lot of commitments, you can really afford to have a little bit of a setback, short, in the short term, who knows, you know,
Yeah.
you really can propel your career sometimes.
Yeah. I think no matter how big or small your career change is, like from maybe sales to marketing, for like from engineering to HR, like something, or like engineering to design. I mean, obviously, no matter how close or big or small it is, there's always some risk involved when you're switching careers. It's just a matter of like how prepared you are, how much effort are you willing to put in.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it really, really means that you have to start from the bottom again.
Correct.
But it may be worth it, like if you really, really believe that's the right thing for you. No, I don't think you really should listen to how do I put it? Like other people's opinion too much. You can listen, but don't let them make the decision for you. Only you know your situation the best, and you know what you are really interested in doing.
That's true.
We just wrote an article on LinkedIn. You can find highly on LinkedIn, right? You can see what were some of the examples again? List like people changing their jobs
Ah,
very drastically. And
yeah, we
what was the
had
example? There was a police person, right?
Yeah, we spoke to a TV journalist that ended up being a police inspector. We spoke to a lawyer that ended up being a fine artist, and another lady that was a chemistry teacher, and then she became a financial advisor. And what
Yeah,
I liked about their stories is that even though the change is very drastic, there's always something that they learned from their previous experience that they can apply to their new job. So I don't feel like it's like a total loss lah if you suddenly just change profession too
Mhm.
drastically. There's always something to learn from the experience that you can bring into your new role.
yeah.
And
Look for hire. Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
go
And this
ahead.
actually just reminded me when I was in uni, I actually had a lecturer who graduated and was teaching law, but his dream was to always be an inspector. And he actually, after teaching us and getting his master's, I believe, he went to be a police officer and he's actually now an inspector.
That's
Yeah,
so
so it's never too
cool.
late. And yeah, and
Yeah, that's
his
super
knowledge
cool.
in law actually helps with his career. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like head on over to our LinkedIn. You can find the article there lah. Just type highly on LinkedIn. I think it's our newest post, right? We just came out
Mhm.
with it
Mm-mm.
today. I those are quite kind of like really drastic examples. So if you're still like changing to something like closely related to your role, and I don't think you should not to downplay your situation, but I don't think it's as risky as those like complete 180 switches one, so I hope
Mhm.
you find some what do you call it, like something to learn from those people as well, right? So next one, wow, we're getting so many questions from YouTube. I'm liking this.
Yes.
I don't know where people are coming from YouTube. We don't really promote the YouTube site, but welcome, right? So having a master's qualification but looking for undergrad roles. Can we explicitly disclose that in our CV summary? I don't want to hide my qualifications, but also don't want recruiter to feel intimidated.
Oh,
What do you think?
I actually have a master's degree, and I did apply for an undergrad role. So I don't think that's a problem at all. I actually included that qualification in my CV, and then when I actually attended the interview, I actually had the chance to um, explain what I learned and how what I learned from my master's project at the time, how I could apply it to my current role. So just to give you guys a context, I I did a degree in architecture, and then I totally switched and did master's in visual communication, and then I applied for an undergrad role as a production coordinator. So I basically just like used my experience from handling my final project and sort of just spin it and how I would apply for that current role. And alhamdulillah, the hiring managers were totally fine. They weren't like intimidated by it. So I don't think having stating that you have a master's degree would intimidate people lah. They just maybe
Mm,
for undergrad role, maybe they question you lah, macam why do you want an undergrad role, and then you can use that chance to explain lah why you want to explore that particular opportunity.
yeah. Well, I don't think I can give a better answer than someone who has experienced that.
I will say though, I don't think there are like I don't think people specifically say undergrad roles. It's just that for most entry level jobs, the minimum requirement is mostly bachelor's degree. which is an undergrad. Uh, I don't think having a master's is gonna exclude you from being considered and stuff like that. It's actually money. I believe that the more common notion is that, oh, you're a master's. Then if an employer see that I'm a master's, they will think that I want higher salary, but I don't mind taking an undergrad salary. Uh, to be honest, if the recruiter is really out there looking for the right talent, they will talk to you and have the conversation with the HR. If your masters actually does help bring more value to your role, then maybe you'll get a salary bump. But if that's not important to you, experience is more important, then it's fine. You'll take whatever that comes to you and just have the conversation with the HR. So don't worry about it. Give it a go. It's like every shot that you don't take, it's a no. Yeah.
That's
true.
very true. That's very true. I heard someone say, don't say no on behalf of other people.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to try. Like, you never know what kind of answer they're
That's
gonna
true.
give, right? So yeah, like, good luck to you, Minyi. Now, why don't what say you we take one more question? For those whose answer didn't get picked, sorry, the question didn't get picked, right? Don't worry. For the ones that are relevant, we'll pick it and we will either answer it at the next session, or Kenny will show you a place where you can get you can take these questions and ask, and we will answer it even
Mm-hmm.
before next week happens, lah, right? So last, by order, last one, what is the proper way or word to state intentions, suggestions? For example, I'm looking for an opportunity in your industry and I believe my skills are transferable, contributing to your company. Example, I am previously from customer service, comm, sales and marketing, and looking into HR, cryptocurrency industry. All right. Um, I'll take this. I do teach quite a number of people to how to brand themselves on their CV lah. So if I may just take your example quite literally, right? If you're writing something like, I'm looking for an opportunity in your industry, believe my skills are transferable and contributing in your company, you look at that sentence, it's almost like it's forgive me for being very blunt, but I really want to get the message across. There's nothing that tells why you are special and you are relevant in the role. You're just saying it, you're not showing it. And in fact, it kind of comes off as a bit of a pushy and a
A
bit
bit
desperate.
overconfident, I guess.
Yeah. So how so what should you do then, right? Number one, HR and cryptocurrency industry. Are you looking for HR role in a cryptocurrency company or whatever it is, lah, right? Uh, if it's not like the same role or if it's not the same industry, I would advise you to split your
CV.
what do you call it, your CVs, your experiences. Your CV, wherever you send to an employer, should always be the most relevant to that job or that employer you are applying for. Why do I say things like that? You have to know your audience. You yourself, when you are like I said in the earlier this session, you are your own marketing person, you are your own salesperson. I give you an example. If I'm a car salesman, right? I'm selling to, for example, Kenny here, who is like a very family oriented person, or I sell it to Liz here, who is like very into, like, cars, and performance one, right? So when I talk to Liz about the same car, I would talk to her about, oh, how much is, like, the how many seconds from 0 to 100. I talk about the performance. I talk about everything related to it being like a good performing car lah. But when I talk to Kenny about it, I would change my tone. Although selling the same car, I will talk about leg space for your kids. I will talk about how it can fit very comfortable, like like children's seats. I can talk about how there's a lot of seats and you can bring your whole family. It's very comfortable for the family. But it's the same car. But I'm telling relevant things to the relevant person. So coming back to your example, right? Um, you really got to state who you are, what makes you special, and what is your career goal. So if you're applying to be a HR person, you talk about, for example, you, you have all this customer service, comms, and sales and marketing. Or for example, I have 5 years of experience talking, in client-facing roles, or whatever like that. So it's kind of related to HR in terms of communications, right? What makes you special? For example, you can talk about perhaps some certifications that you took, that helps you transition to HR. Or you can talk about you being a top performer at this certain companies, right? And then your career goal, you should cater it to, well, the role that you're applying for or the company you're applying for. Like, I can't give you a more detailed example, Joycelyn. I'm so sorry, but if for example, if you were leading a team in any of this, like your previous roles, right, and you can talk about, I have experience in building up a team. In my previous roles, in hiring, in screening, and all that stuff. So when you're applying for a HR job, all these things will come into play. But if you're applying for another, let's say, sales or digital marketing jobs, for example, it won't really much come into play. If you're talking about like cryptocurrency industry, right, you might want to talk about, how involved you are in that space right now, your understanding. Like you can talk about, like, for example, I'm a day trader as well. All these things that really relates back to the place you're applying for.
Can I add a really quick point? So,
Sure.
Jocelyn and anyone who's out there, right, when making or crafting your CV, please always keep in mind that you are fighting with other people. So, you need to make it as easy as possible for the employer to know who you are. So, drawing the example here, the statement that you've given, I am looking for an opportunity in your industry. I believe my skills are transferable, contribute to your company. Reading this sentence, right, I have no idea. Okay, an opportunity in your industry. What is my industry? I believe my
Yeah.
skills. What are your skills? Like, tell me. Like, don't let the
Yes.
don't let the employer go on a treasure hunt.
No,
You need
but
to
to,
show
to
them the
comment you,
treasure.
to comment you, Joycelyn, your format is very much like
Correct.
good already. It's just you
Yeah.
got to be very specific about,
Correct.
the
So, like,
the specifics.
the things that you've bracket in your example is sort of the things that you should have already put it in your statement instead of like, how do I put it in? You should already think of ways. So like, I am looking for a role in HR in the cryptocurrency. I have this years of experience. Blah blah blah. Blah. Already tell them your best points. Don't let them go and search for it. All right.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, good luck to you as well, Jocelyn. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. But like I've mentioned, people who didn't get their questions answered, don't worry. We'll pick it up next week, Thursday, same time. Um, but Kenny, for those who don't have the patience of 1 week, where can they get their questions answered?
All right. So for those that still have questions, sorry we are running out of time. But if you're not willing to wait until next week for our session, you can head over to highly.com/offwork. So Offwork is a community that we've created, like a mini forum for anyone and everyone to be able to ask career questions. So it's a safe space. Our team is here, and you also have other professionals and even peers. So you get to share opinions and maybe get some industry advice as well. So if you're looking to get your questions answered, head over to highly.com/offwork or search for Offwork on Facebook.
Right, fantastic. And lastly, for those who missed it, Harley X is basically, how when you drop your CV at Harley X, that's how you can help. Well, that's how you can help us to help you find job for you. I word it very weirdly, but you know us as a job platform. You go to Harley.com and look for jobs yourself. But why don't you try x.harley.com as well? That's the website. You can see at the right corner of this page here. It's as simple as just dropping your CV, and when there are suitable jobs, related to you, our headhunters may contact you. So why not have another opportunity, another method to discover jobs that may be suitable for you as well, right? So it's really as simple as it sounds. The website is x.harley.com. And that's it. That's all the time we have here today, right? So thank you so much, everyone, for asking your questions. And I hope to see you either at the off work page or next week, Thursday. Come earlier, same time. We will answer the one. I mean, the early bird gets the worm, lah, right? And thanks, Kenny and Liz, for joining us, right? All right. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.